Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill, and I'm the e-recruiter here at UC Merced. A big welcome to you and all of our guests tonight. We will be discussing tonight supporting our undocumented community. This event tonight will be recorded and the full presentation will be available online in just a couple of days. And just another quick mention, this is part of a larger series called Become a Bobcat, a virtual series. We will go ahead and drop that link into the chat box so that you can take a look at previous events and their instant replays, as well as this one in a few days, as well as several events that are still coming up in the coming weeks. All right, before we get started, let me give you a couple of quick tips. If you would like to adjust your audio settings, you can do so in the lower left corner of your screen by clicking the audio settings button. If you would like to adjust the size of your screen, go ahead and click on view options in the upper portion of your window. Lastly, and most importantly, this particular event has been designed just for you, so we would love to get to your questions tonight. Go ahead and use the Q&A button, the lower portion of your screen, and send in those questions throughout the presentation. We will have time at the end of this event for a live panel and a live question and answer session. Before we do get this event kicked off, I do want to remind everyone, we have our huge spring event called Bobcat Day coming up on Saturday, April 23rd. So make sure that you do take a look at that website as well. We will drop that into the chat for you. You can get registered right away. And we do have lots of information on the website, including a schedule at a glance, so you can get a heads up on what to expect on that day. What I can tell you to expect is a lot of fun. You get to meet so many of our staff members, lots of Bobcats that are current students, and it'll just be a wonderful day for you to get a good feel about what our campus is all about. Once again, a big welcome to you tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ricky Hill. At this time, let's go ahead and get started, and we will take a look at our quick agenda for tonight. So we've already checked off item number 1 as a big welcome to everyone. And tonight we will be going over some undocumented student resources. The next topic we will have, as I mentioned, is an alumni and student panel. And then towards the end, we will have that live question and answer session, as well as our expert panelists here to talk with you tonight. Once again, a big welcome. And I'd like to, at this time, hand things over to my colleague, Alex.
Thank you, Ricky, for that introduction. Again, my name is Alex Delgadillo. I'm the Associate Director for Educational Equity and Access Programs here at UC Merced. So I oversee a variety of different programs that support many of our special populations here at the university, including services for undocumented students. So we'll go through a progression of slides, and Ricky is going to be assisting me as we progress through the slides, kind of giving an overview a little more about the university. Most importantly, undocumented students here at the university comprise about 6% of our student population here at the university. Despite the fact being that we are the smallest of the UC campuses as far as population, we have the 4th largest population of undocumented students in the UC system. We also have students at the master's and PhD level who also receive full funding for their studies while they're here. And those who have DACA or work authorization are able to be teaching assistants or research assistants here at the university to help supplement the financial aid that they receive. As you can see, we're an extremely diverse in regards to our demographics here at the university, but also keep in mind that many of our students, at least two out of 3 students here at the university, come from families where English is not the dominant language. And so that represents that the majority of our students come from immigrant families. Over the last 8 years, the University of California has committed over $15 million to support undocumented students throughout our 10 UC campuses. And that includes UC San Francisco, which provides graduate programs as well as medical school studies there. And so therefore, we've invested in a variety of different ways. Not only do the funds go to additional financial aid and as well as opportunities to do internships at our respective campuses, but also providing professional staff, as well as providing salaries for student staff who helps supplement our various undocumented student centers at each UC campus. We've also invested over $900,000 to be allocated for the UC Immigrant Legal Services based at UC Davis, which that means is that there's a variety of legal services to support all our undocumented students as well as our mixed status students throughout the 10 UC campuses. Next slide. Speaking of legal services, students at the University of California, including UC Merced, are able to access attorneys that will provide for them services related to immigration. However, the services are not limited to just the student who's undocumented, but also to their immediate family, meaning their parents and siblings can also utilize the services for free. Also, mixed status students. We do have students who may be US citizens, but whose immediate family members might be undocumented. And therefore, they also work with our attorneys in helping their family members maybe start the process for permanent residency, or in other words, obtaining a green card. And so our attorneys here are to serve all our UC students in any area related to immigration. And again, these services are free. And our attorneys help out with advanced parole for those who have DACA, or those who are applying for DACA for the initial time, DACA students who are renewing their DACAs every couple of years, and also any related immigration assistance that a student needs. Next slide. The tuition exemption request form, more commonly known as the AB540 form. It is important that students who have been admitted, it's okay to submit the AB540 form or the tuition exemption form to the office of the registrar here at the university. In order to qualify for the Assembly Bill 540, it results in students who have submitted that form and qualify for AB 540 will receive in-state tuition, as well as being eligible for financial aid from the state of California, as well as the institution of the UC campus in which they're going to attend. So it's important that students fill the affidavit as quickly as possible after they've been notified that they've been offered admission and submit it to the registrar's office. However, the affidavit will not be finalized until we have received your final transcripts from your high school or community college or all institutions that you've attended to verify that indeed you meet the different requirements for AB 540. Now, there are three different ways to satisfy the requirements for AB 540. One is you attended a California high school for a minimum of 3 years and graduated from that said high school, or attended adult school or retained a GED, but in that period of time, it was a period of 3 years. Or a student who may have only attended a California high school for 1 or 2 years and does not satisfy the 3-year requirement, but previously lived in California and attended maybe elementary school or middle school, we can use those additional years as well as to satisfy the 3-year requirement. And this is through Assembly Bill 2000. This was an addendum to the original AB 540 law that came out in 2001. And then we have students who may not have attended a California high school or middle school or elementary school at all, but have now immigrated or settled here in the state of California. But if they attend a California community college and are able to become eligible after 2 years or have attained an Associates of Arts degree and are planning to transfer to a UC or a Cal State University, that then therefore they qualify for AB 540. So there are 3 different ways to qualify for the Assembly Bill 540 law and therefore obtain in-state tuition as well as qualify and be eligible for financial aid. Next slide. So this is the AB 540 form, or as most commonly known by students. It is important that you understand that in order to not be charged for non-resident fees, and in the UCs, the non-resident fee is an additional almost $30,000. So in order to avoid that being on your bill, you must submit this form and submit it to the registrar's office, especially if you're coming to UC Merced, and being sure that you have checked the appropriate boxes. Now, for example, where it says application and the first box says check one box only. So this is a bit confusing. As long as you do not have a visa or active visa, that means I do not have a current immigration visa as defined by the federal law. So probably check that box. But if you have a current valid visa, then therefore you may not qualify for AB 540. So the exception would be if you have a U visa because you have petitioned for asylum, or you have been the victims of crime, or you have witnessed crime, and so therefore qualify under the U visa, that would be the exception. So if you came originally to the United States with a valid visa, but it has expired in that time, then you check, I do not have a current non-immigrant visa as defined by federal law. Then you would need to check these 2 boxes. You need to check 2 from column A and 1 from column B. Again, this is a way to satisfy that you are eligible for AB 540 by checking the appropriate boxes. So again, if you if you graduated from a California high school, attended that said California high school for a minimum of 3 years. Okay. If you attended a California high school, graduated from said California, but did not attend a full 3 years, but had previously lived in California, and we can use those additional years in middle school or elementary school, then check the boxes. If you are an individual who did not meet the previous 2 requirements, but attended a California community college, have attained an Associates of Arts degree, or have been eligible for admission to be able to transfer to a 4-year university, then check the box so that you may be eligible for in-state tuition and eligible for financial aid. You will list the names of the schools that you attended in the period of time that you did, sign the form, and then submit it to the office of the registrar here at UC Merced. Now, remember, some students may become a bit anxious because they are still seeing on their checklist that the AB540 form has not been approved. And that's because we're still waiting for the final transcripts to verify that you indeed graduate from a California high school, or that you indeed are transferring from a California community college and fulfill the requirements for admission as a transfer student. Next slide. So this gives you an estimate of the expenses that students here at UC Merced for next year will probably incur. The thing that's most important is the yellow highlighted areas. The yellow highlighted areas are the actual cost of attendance. So the tuition for next year is $14,272. Fine, that's the tuition. Room and board, if you choose to live on campus next year, this is the estimated price for room and board for living on campus in your meals if you live in a double room. Now, to reduce that cost, a student can live in a triple or request a quad in which 4 people live. The more people, the less the amount goes. And so therefore it becomes more affordable. Now, books, supplies, transportation, personal expenses, that will vary. Many of our students on a whole or on an average will probably spend about $400 on actual books. And also you will find other classmates who've taken the class previously, as long as it's the right edition, and probably may either loan you the book or sell you the book at a reduced cost than, say, a retailer. And so therefore, there's always going to be ways of being able to afford your books. And also many of our faculty have now moved to digital books, so they're available online. Also, you can also rent certain textbooks from our library, so you don't always have to buy the book. Transportation will depend how often do you want to go home. Personal expenses depends on what you need. Do you need a new laptop? Are you in need of new clothes? Laundry detergent. Hopefully you all know how to do your laundry before you come to college, but other personal items like that. Now the health insurance can be waived. If you have Medi-Cal, you can transfer your Medi-Cal from your home county to Merced County and verify that you indeed have health insurance, or maybe you have private health insurance from one of your family members, employment. And therefore you need to demonstrate that you indeed have your own health insurance so that you will not incur the cost of the health insurance, or what's called the UC SHIP, University of California Student Health Insurance Program. And so therefore you won't have that expense. So the only things you know for sure that you're going to be responsible for if you live on campus is tuition and room and board. If you live off campus, say in a house or apartment with other college students or family friends, you're going to be responsible for your tuition. And if you're going to commute from home and you live in the local area or in the vicinity, or at least within 55 miles, then yes, you'll still be responsible for tuition costs. But again, these expenses will vary. This is not the actual expense. So if you're looking at the bottom line, as most people want to look at the bottom line, it's not going to cost $39,000 to come to UC Merced. Or if you're living off campus, it's not going to cost you $30,384. So again, it's how you effectively manage and budget your financial aid. And that's important. So next slide, please. So here's an example of an award letter for an undocumented student. As you can see, the student has not submitted their AB540 form, so we're charging them almost $30,000 for the estimated non-resident tuition. Once the student has submitted that AB540 form, then that expense will go away. If you've submitted a waiver for the health insurance, then that's going to go away. If you're living in a triple or a quad, then that cost is going to be reduced. So these are the things that you need to understand how financial aid works. This is not your final bill. In this case, this particular student received the Cal Grant. and that's aid that they're receiving from the state of California. So obviously the student did qualify as an AB540 student, is eligible, submitted the California DREAM Act, and the state of California is awarding this student $12,500 and some dollars for the year, and it's divided into fall semester and spring semester. The Bobcat grant, that's money that's coming from UC Merced. So that's being awarded to the student because the student is qualified for that amount. California Dream Loan. Now, California Dream Loan, you know, myself being Latino, a lot of Latinos do not like to owe money. I understand that, but loans are now pretty much a necessity and part of the culture of attending any college or university. But in the state of California, we offer California Dream Loan. Now, you can decline the loan, as some of you may not want to get in debt, and that's totally fine. Or, and here's something that not a lot of students are aware of, you can also request a reduction in that loan. You can say, you know what, I don't need all 1,500, maybe I just need 750. And you speak with financial aid and they will reduce your loan and you can accept that amount. Or you can decline the loan in the fall, but all of a sudden in the spring you realize, well, you know, I might need that additional money. So I'm going to go ahead and accept the dream loan for the spring. Or I can ask, you know, them to give me portions of what I declined in the fall and add it to the amount that I have in the spring. So you can always negotiate to reduce the loan or to defer the loan from fall and then possibly access that fall loan onto your spring award. So again, it's always about having conversations with with financial aid in regards to as to what your financial needs are. It is important that you and your family look at the actual expenses for the year and also look at the financial aid award that you're going to be receiving. Does it meet your budget needs? Okay. And again, you do not always have to accept all of your financial aid, but definitely you want to accept the Cal grant and the Bobcat grant. Now, the loan, again, is something that you and your family can talk about. You know, do we accept the entire loan? And how dream loans work is this way. It's protected by the state of California. And what it is that it's a very minimal interest that you do not pay while you're in college. Instead, the state pays that. So 6 months after you graduate from UC Merced, let's say you owe $5,000. You have 6 months after you graduate, you have 10 years to pay that loan off at a minimal interest. And so you're paying something like $60 a month for the next 10 years. You can pay more and pay it off faster, as well as pay less interest on it. So it's doable, but again, it's important for you and your family to have conversations of how that might work for you. Next slide. So it's important that you understand the varied services and programs that we offer here at UC Merced. This spring, we opened up our new Monarch Center, Resource Center for Undocumented students. So it's our new place. We're waiting until next week, and we're going to have a major open house. And so we're excited to invite all our students, as well as faculty and staff, to come and see our facility and so forth. Our students are getting ready for Undocu Week next week. So we'll be inclusive of a variety of workshops that we'll be doing throughout the week, but also one portion is also having a reception here in our new Monarch Center. But we also provide additional academic assistance. We provide, as I mentioned before, legal support. We also provide emergency funds, or as we refer to as crisis funds. So if students, for whatever reason, do not have enough funds to pay for their books, they can request crisis funds through our office. If they're looking to renew their DACA, again, they can request crisis funds to help them out with that expense. If they're in need of groceries and they live off campus, we work with our basic needs office and being able to provide resources for our students to get groceries or provide groceries through our food pantry that they can pick up weekly groceries for themselves. So there's always going to be things that we are going to do to support our undocumented students. And it's just not our undergraduate students, but also our graduate students have the same access to all these resources as well. We do training with our faculty and our staff at the university to make them much more aware of how to become better allies and supporters of our undocumented students here at the university. We work collaboratively with a variety of other offices and units here at the university to support our undocumented students, whether it be our Center for Career Professional Advancement, in which we facilitate the Undocu Scholar Academy to help our undocumented students better prepare for what comes after graduation, whether it's professional school, graduate school, or going straight into their career. And especially with almost 80% of undocumented students coming in the fall, and attending various colleges and universities throughout the United States who are coming to our institutions of higher education without having DACA. And for many of them are concerned about, what will I do with this education if I don't have authorization to work? What's the point? And the Undocu Scholar Academy, as we work collaboratively with our Center for Career and Professional Advancement, is to be sure that our students understand that there are career opportunities with or without DACA, and helping them to understand that. We also work with our counseling and psychological services, especially when some of our students are just feeling a bit overwhelmed, not only about the college experience, but also the current political climate and how it relates to immigrants in the United States. And wanting to be sure that we're addressing those concerns, that our students can know that this is a safe and supportive community, and that they can also focus on their academics and so forth. So these are the things that we do. We do have institutional grants. Some of it comes from some fundraising that we do, working with donors, but also some grants that we work with, for example, the IME Becas, which is a program that we work collaboratively with the Mexican consulate in regards to providing additional scholarships for students here at UC Merced. Next slide, please. So this is our website. I strongly encourage you to go to our website, become more familiar with our services and programs and so forth. This is kind of a slide from last year's website, but we've updated, including, you will find, if you go to our website, a checklist. We provide a checklist every year for incoming first-year students and transfer students to know what the next steps are. Many of you have already received in your admit packet, or will receive in your admit packet, key dates and deadlines that you need to be aware of. But in our checklist, we include things that are specific to undocumented students that you need to be on top of. Like, for example, the health insurance waiver. Be sure that you're submitting the AB540 form, that you are meeting the conditions of admission. These are the things that you need to be on top of. By using that checklist, as you progress, as you get closer and closer to the fall semester beginning, that you have done the necessary things that you need to do and met the appropriate deadlines. So it's important to go to our website and see what we're all about, see all the varied programs that we do and the services that we provide. Next slide, please. So be sure that you're like I said, check the checklist for incoming scholars for fall of 2022. It's available on our website. And it's important, like I say, to be checking off the things that are being done. You will see that each category is divided by admissions, course enrollment, financial aid, health insurance, housing, and other areas specific that you need to be taken care of within those areas. So be sure that you're not only submitting your statement of intent to register by May 1st, but you are also signing up for housing by May 3rd, that you are also signing your housing contract, I think, by May 7th. And so these are the things you have to be sure that you're on top of. Financial aid in particular, you may be receiving information from financial aid that they need additional forms or documents. Please, those need to be in by June 1st. So be sure that you're on top of things. If you do not submit the documents by June 1st, it could hinder the distribution of your financial aid. So you don't want that to happen. You want to be sure that your financial aid is eventually deposited into your student account and meeting and covering your expenses for the fall. So be sure that you are working with financial aid if you're having difficulty in getting the documents you need by June 1st. So these are the things that the checklist will help you navigate through. Next slide. These are just some of the things that we do during the academic year. Our Undocu week, which is taking place next week, in which we do a variety of workshops and information sessions. Our attorneys coming in to talk about know your rights and so forth, especially in this political climate, as many students across the country are still concerned about the uncertainty of DACA, but also what happens to those who are not DACA students and so forth. And we want to be sure that we're addressing those concerns as well, so that you stay well informed of what's going on in Washington, D.C., and how does that impact students in the state of California. Our Undocu Bobcat graduation, last year we graduated 126 students from UC Merced. And it's our highest number ever. It seems like every year the number just gets going up higher and higher. And so therefore, a variety of our students went straight into careers. A variety of our students went to professional schools, master's or PhD programs, and so forth. And so our students are graduating and being successful. And we want to be sure that if UC Merced is your choice of your destination for continuing your journey of higher education, that you know that you are in an environment that's going to be supportive, it's going to be safe, And it's going to show you the different avenues that you can follow to achieving success after you leave the university. In the fall, we do our fall work kickoffs for new incoming first-year students and transfer students to become more familiar with the services and the programs that we offer. And then we also do our Immigrant Day of Action that takes place in the fall semester. But we also have a variety of other events that we do. Next slide, please. And so some of those programs are, like I mentioned before, emergency funds. We have our Ascending Scholars program, which is a high school outreach program that we work with local high schools in developing undocumented student organizations or clubs on those campuses, and that our students go and visit and meet with the students and become mentors for them. The Knowledge Empowers You program, and this is very important that you all understand. And please take heart and take note. This is on our website too, so you can always go and register for the program through our website. But Knowledge Empowers You is our version of summer orientation. We're going to do it virtually. There are programs specifically for students, and then there are programs specifically in the evenings for family members or parents. We see your parents and your families as partners in this journey that you're beginning here at the university. We want to be sure that we're addressing with you and your families issues specific to undocumented students, like health insurance. How do I get that waiver? Because that is a big thing. Immunizations. Why do I need the immunizations? Students who do not meet the immunization deadline can, in the fall semester, find out that there's a hold in place on their registration for spring semester. They can't enroll in classes in the spring because they have not taken care of their immunization requirements when they came in the fall. So be sure that you're on top of these things, and these are things we're going to cover. We're also going to talk about financial aid. We're also going to, many students are still going to say, I don't have DACA, so what opportunities do I have to work on campus? And this is an ongoing question. And we will talk about the following thing: the Student Success Internship Program, which is open to students who have DACA and don't have DACA, in which they can get internships here at the university through our SSI program. This provides students the opportunities to have an internship for an academic year, receive an additional financial aid award of $3,000, $1,500 in the fall and $1,500 in the spring, and have professional experiences while they're doing their internships and be mentored by professional staff. UC Leads is the opportunity for our students here who are undocumented to do research. And when I say research, it's not, a lot of people think of STEM majors, science, engineering. Actually, it also is inclusive of social sciences and humanities majors. So students design their own research. If they apply and they're accepted into the program, they spend the summer here at the university doing their research. We cover their living expenses in the residence halls, and they receive at the end of the summer a $3,000 stipend. We also provide additional $1,000 for travel and an additional $500 for expenses that the students might have for supplies. And also are under the mentorship of a faculty member that guides them through the research that they're doing at the course of the summer. At the end of the summer, the student will do a presentation to faculty and graduate students about the findings and methodology of their research. And then the next year, students will have the opportunity to do the research again if they want to, with the same financial incentives, but may have the opportunities to do that research at UC Davis, UC Irvine, or UC Santa Barbara. So these are the opportunities for research opportunities for undocumented undergraduate students here at the university. Undocu Scholars Academy is a program that we have specifically for the professional development of undocumented students. Many of our students, especially first generation students, come to college thinking, I'll get my degree, and I'll go get a job, and I'll help my family. It's not that straightforward. It is not. It is a very complex process of what you do during your tenure as an undergrad student to become prepared and ready for what comes after graduation. If you're going to professional school or graduate school, or you're going straight into your career. Students without DACA, what are your options? Well, we explain to students that they have a variety of options, which includes either becoming an independent contractor or starting your own business. And if you are starting your own business, through Immigrants Rising, an organization that we work with, they have entrepreneurial funds that students can apply for to start your own business. The state of California recently implemented the California Dream Fund for students who want to start their own businesses and at least qualify for at least $10,000 as startup money for their own business. So again, these are the kind of opportunities that we provide and explain to students so that they have plans for post-graduation rather than completing their degree and saying, I'm not really sure what I can do now. We provide the Bobcat Leadership Series, which helps our students become much more active and embedded in the campus community as active leaders. 2 out of the last 3 student body presidents at UC Merced have been undocumented students. So our students are truly embedded in the campus culture and various leadership. Today, I met with one of our students who is the president of her sorority. We have students who are resident assistants in the residence halls. We've had students who are mentors, students who are tutors, presidents of other organizations. So our students are actively involved, but the leadership series provides for them the necessary knowledge and skills to become effective leaders, not only on our campus, but when they eventually leave our university as well. We do have students who volunteer in our center, helping out with working the reception desk or working with certain events, especially our graduation ceremonies, and helping us to prepare as there's a planning committee for that. Undocu peers, helping students who want to be allies for their undocumented friends or classmates and so forth. How can I be a better ally for my classmates or my peers? And so they go through a series of training. Undocu ally training is specifically for faculty and staff to become better allies for our undocumented students. And many of our staff, including all our psychologists from our counseling and psychological services, all our academic advisors on campus have gone through this training and how they become better supporters of our undocumented students here at the university. Next slide, please. So be sure that you register for the KEY program. It's not just for you, but it's also for your family, so that your families becomes much more empowered and helping to be a better ally for you in the time that you're here, but also knowing more about what the university is going to do to support you and all our undocumented students here at the university. So I encourage you to register for that. I encourage you to get more information about the varied workshops that we have specifically for incoming students, as well as the workshops that we will have in the evenings, because we understand family members work during the day. And so we want to be sure that it's a convenient time. It's totally free. There is no charge to this. So be sure that you become more familiar with the various workshops and that you will participate. Next slide, please. So our Undocu Scholar Academy, as I mentioned, is an 8-week commitment. Our students learn more about how to prepare for their careers, how to write a resume, how to interview, how to research graduate schools, how to also research graduate schools of how am I going to pay for my master's, my PhD, or medical school. A lot of students are not aware, but in the state of California, there's Assembly Bill 1159. Assembly Bill 1159 says that an undocumented immigrant can go to medical school and be a doctor. An undocumented immigrant can go to law school and practice law in the state of California. An undocumented immigrant can get their teaching credentials and be a teacher in the state of California. So there's over 40 professional licenses in the state of California that undocumented immigrants can qualify and have professional lives and professional careers. So it's important that our students become much more familiar with these opportunities. We also, at the end of the 8-week academy, which is actually tomorrow's the last day for this semester's academy, they also receive a $250 gift card for professional attire, so that you're buying a suit, you're buying, dress shirts, skirts, professional attire, should you have an interview or you have your first day of your internship or whatever, so that our students are better prepared for their professional lives. Next slide. So our volunteer program, many of our students do spend time in our office and help out with a variety of programs. We also have students who are not undocumented who do volunteer in our office as well, because they want to be supportive of their classmates or friends, or they're that special person that they want to be supportive of and spend time learning more about, the types of resources that undocumented students have at the university, so that they can also share that information. Next slide. I already mentioned our Bobcat Leadership Series, and our students, again, get a certificate. We do this in partnership with the Margot Souza Leadership Center here on campus, and our students receive, a certificate at the end of their training and so forth. Next slide. And as I mentioned before, Assembly Bill 1159. The state of California is head and shoulders way above the rest of the states in the United States in regards to how they support undocumented students, not only in the form of financial aid, not only in the opportunities to get a driver's license, but also the fact that there are professional opportunities beyond the undergraduate experience in going on to law school, medical school, getting a master's, PhD, and what these young scholars can do with their education. The Pre-Health Dreamers is a program that emerged out of UCLA and has kind of spread throughout the UC system in helping students who want to go into nursing, pharmacy, want to go into veterinary medicine or medical school. And so again, these are the opportunities that exist and as we direct our students to these organizations, as well as providing them the resources. So our students do go to medical school. We currently have one of our alums who's currently in his first year of law school at Bolt Law School, which is affiliated with UC Berkeley. He has an entire financial package that he does not have to worry about anything because his law school is paid for and covered by Bolt Law School at UC Berkeley. So again, these are the opportunities that you have to prepare for the eventuality of these opportunities, but you have to know about them. Next slide. Also, as I mentioned before, students here at the university can do undergraduate research, not only in the STEM fields, but also in the social sciences, humanities, as our students are trying to better prepare and become not only competitive, but also ready for their professional lives after they leave the university. The other thing is also the students receive financial stipends to help them, whether they have DACA or do not have DACA, to still access these opportunities and also receive those kind of financial support as they venture through these programs that we have through our Office of Undergraduate Research Center, or what's called UROC, Undergraduate Research Opportunity Center here at the university. But there are a specific program under UROC called UC Leads, specifically for undocumented students. Next slide, please. So we believe that, and the data clearly demonstrates that if students who are involved in 2 out of these 6 programs, they will be successful during their tenure here at the university. The STEP program is to assist those students who are undeclared, undecided, trying to figure out what major, what career path do I want to go? Or students who say, I want to go to medical school, but I'm not sure how to get there. Or students who say, I'm majoring in sociology, but I'm not really clear of what I can do with a sociology degree. And the STEP program really works and helps our students in that regard. Our Guardian Scholars Program is for students who are formerly foster youth or homeless. And we do have undocumented students in that program, and it also provides year-round housing for those students as well if they have no other place to go. The Success Mentor Program, we strongly encourage students to enroll in this program because you will receive a mentor during your first year here at the university that will guide you, support you through weekly meetings, through referrals, and providing you with resources and so forth to be successful. Undergraduate Studies 10 is a first-year seminar for first-year students to better understand how to navigate the university. Accessibility services is for students who have, whether it's a physical disability, a learning disability, a hidden disability, to register with that office to get the support that you need, whether it be additional test taking time, or is it a proctored exam, or accessibility to buildings, or an accessible residence hall room because you have a physical disability. So it's important that you consider these programs because they will set you up for success. And now at this point, I'm going to turn it back over to Ricky. I want to thank you for the time to have been able to speak with you and present to you the array of services and programs that we have here at UC Merced to support our undocumented students. Trust me, there's a place here for you. And know that this is a safe and supportive community, from our chancellor, Muñez Sanchez, to everyone else on our campus, students, faculty, staff. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Ricky, I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Alex. What a wonderful presentation. As always, so much great information being shared tonight with our audience. At this time, I'd like to actually invite on one of my colleagues. She's the ambassador coordinator, and her name is Jessica. She's going to lead this next portion of our event. Jessica, I'll hand it off to you.
So we do want to take this time to remind our students, for those first year, to submit your SIR, your statement of intent to register, by May 1st. That deadline is approaching us. And then just some other reminders from our admission team. We do have this really awesome STEM and agriculture research opportunity open to students. We'll be hosting a 6-week paid internship where you will get to work with different UC Merced faculty and rotate through labs, learn more about food systems, production, processing, natural resources management, climate change, adaptation, and so much more. If you're interested in applying, the deadline to apply is May 1st, 2022. And then up next week, we have on April 14th, we have another webinar, as well as other webinars throughout the month. If you're interested in more of these webinars, you can scan that code, or you can visit admissions.ucmerced.edu/become a Bobcat. I also want to remind everyone that Bobcat Day is coming up on April 23rd. If you haven't registered please register for that. Really get out here at UC Merced and learn more about our clubs and organizations and what makes UC Merced special. Next slide, please. And of course, our contact information for our wonderful presenter today, Alejandro Delgadillo, our Associate Director of Educational Equity and Access. If you need to contact him, his information is up on the screen. Next slide. And of course, contacting our Office of Admissions, my contact information is there. Once again, I'm Jessica Teran Salazar. I'm the Student Ambassador Coordinator, and that is my email, as well as the Office of Admissions email and their phone number. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also scan that barcode to stay up to date. Thank you. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us, to my staff that's working behind the scenes, and to all the panelists. And thank you everyone for your time and for joining us tonight.